Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are returning with our Game Week 28 predictions for the Premier League, and we kick off with Manchester United against Everton on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, and I've gone for a 2-1 Manchester United win. Bit of a tough one to predict because Everton are in very, very poor form at the moment, but United don't have a lot of goal threat. Obviously Højlund's still out injured. Rashford scored an absolute cracker in the Manchester derby last week, but they didn't really lay a glove on City other than that. So I've gone for 2-1. I think it'll be a tight game, and I was tempted to go for Everton to snatch a point. We then have 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, and no disrespect to all of the teams involved, but neither of them are that standout. So we kick off with Bournemouth against Sheffield United, where I've gone for a 3-0 Bournemouth win. The Blades have just been conceding goals for fun recently. Their goal difference is absolutely plummeting, and they're on their way back down to the Championship. I'd expect Bournemouth to win this one pretty comfortably. We've then got Crystal Palace against Luton in Game 3. Again, Luton in really poor form and conceding a lot of goals at the moment, so I've gone for Palace to win by 2-1. Generally quite a tough place to go, Selhurst Park, and they've had a decent start under Glasner, so I think they will win there. And then Wolves against Fulham, another kind of tough one to predict. Two teams that are both in relatively good form, sort of mid-table sides, but I have gone for Wolves to win it by 2-1. Then the Saturday evening kickoff sees Arsenal hosting Brentford at the Emirates. Of course, Arsenal off the back of their 6-0 victory away at Bramall Lane, and they have been scoring goals for fun recently. 6-0 against the Blades, they scored 4 against Newcastle, 5 at Burnley and 6 at West Ham, so they are scoring goals for fun at the moment and not conceding many either. With that in mind, I've gone for them to win by 3-0. I think although Brentford have been shipping a lot of goals, I don't see them putting 4, 5, 6 past another team. Eventually the goals will sort of run out. I think they'll win pretty comfortably, but I've gone for 3-0. Then as we head into Sunday, we've got 4 games kicking off with part 1 of Super Sunday. Aston Villa against Tottenham. I've actually gone for maybe a little bit of a shock result with 2-1 to Spurs in this game. My reasoning for that is Villa played on Thursday night away in the Netherlands as they faced Ajax, whereas Spurs have had a whole week to prepare for this. They did beat Palace in Matchday 27 as well, and Villa's home form has gone a little bit out the window since the turn of the year. So with that little bit of extra prep, I've gone for Spurs to win it by 2-1. We've then got 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sunday, kicking off with Brighton against Nottingham Forest. Again, not an absolute cracker of a game, no disrespect to either side. I've gone for Brighton to win it by 2-1. Forest have been pretty decent since Nuno took over, but their away form isn't the best, whereas Brighton are generally better at home, despite them being on a pretty poor run of form. Then the other 2 o'clock game, West Ham against Burnley, the two claret and blue sides facing off, and again I've gone for the same scoreline of 2-1, this time to the home side, West Ham. They did of course play on Thursday night, and it's not really the longest amount of rest between games, but Burnley, similarly to Sheffield United, look as if they're heading back down to the Championship. If they want to put up any sort of fight, they need to start picking up some wins, and to be honest, I just don't see it coming. I think their fate is sort of written on the wall, which is why I've gone for the Hammers to return to winning ways here. And then the big one on Sunday sees Liverpool hosting Manchester City at Anfield, of course. Big clash at the top of the table, and I really didn't know what to go for. There's been a lot of sort of noise on Twitter over the last week or so of sort of the Anfield record versus the Rodri record, these long unbeaten streaks, and everyone's like, oh, one of them's got to give. So with that in mind, I've actually gone for a draw. I've gone for a 1-1 result. Liverpool's record is very good at Anfield, but City have been incredible away from home, and it feels like one of those games that neither side can really afford to lose. If it's still tied at sort of an hour in, there's every chance that both teams just kind of settle and accept a point rather than pushing and going on to lose. Then finally, it's my boys Chelsea hosting Newcastle at the Bridge, and I do love a weekday game at the Bridge. It's always a special atmosphere, although not quite so much this season with Chelsea having a pretty poor campaign. I've gone for a 1-1 draw in this game as well, just because Chelsea's record against the teams above them is very, very poor, but they do have a good record against Newcastle, whose away form is not the best this season. So I've kind of settled in the middle at a 1-1 scoreline. And finally, my joker game this week, as I think it will be for a lot of people, is Arsenal against Brentford. I think there'll be a couple of 4s, possibly even some 5-0 jokers this week. I've obviously gone 4-3, and I'm hoping the Gunners don't absolutely run away with it again. I'm pretty confident that they will win, though. So heading over to the league website, you can see we have closed the gap a little bit to Mystery at the top. I believe at the beginning of the fixture last week, we were 10 points behind. We have closed that gap slightly to now just 7 points, and we're also 1 point off second as well, so we're in a pretty healthy position with a 7-point gap to 5th as well. And that is because we had a pretty decent fixture 27. You can see us there in joint third, 13 points from the 10 games, and most significantly Mr. E only picked up 9 points, so we actually gained 4 points on him this week, and that's because we had an incredible 3-pointer that I'll get to now. So yeah, here is a full breakdown. Obviously I'm up here, Mr. E down here. No 3-pointers this week for Mr. E, whereas we picked up 2. But the best one for me was Luton against Aston Villa, that 3-2 scoreline. Nobody else in the league had that, so it was a really, really good shout that got me a couple of extra points on everyone else. Obviously Villa were 2 up, pulled back to 2-2, and then nicked it right at the end. So really, really good 3-pointer there. And then we also had 3-1 Man City against Manchester United. I've been saying all season that 3-1 City is my go-to joker, and I avoided it this week, and maybe I should have stuck with my gut. We did have Arsenal to win as our joker, and of course they blew Sheffield United out of the water. So no 6-point joker this week, but a pretty decent round nonetheless. But yeah, that is where we will do it for this week, guys. Let me know what predictions you would change down below in the comments, and hopefully we can continue making up some ground to top spot this week. I will catch you for the next episode very soon, guys, and peace.